En un mundo donde las banderas arcoíris dominan los paisajes urbanos y los pronombres están en cada perfil, parecería que los activistas woke han logrado una victoria total. Pero espera, hay un giro inesperado. Mientras algunos exigen aún más reconocimiento, otros están listos para soltar serias verdades. He recopilado 2 casos en los que el sentido común choca de frente con el extremo woke. Comenzamos con el momento en que un profesor defensor de JK Rowling dejó tan impactados a los estudiantes woke que la junta escolar perdió la cabeza. Fue un enfrentamiento donde el sentido común se enfrentó a la cultura de la cancelación, y nuestro educador no solo se opuso, sino que usó la propia lógica del woke para vencerlo. Mira atentamente.
So these guys want to talk about JK Rowling? Is that so? What's going on with that? What do you want to know?
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, do you still like her work despite her bigoted opinions?
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions,
she has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
Hey, you've heard. So what? Can you give me an example?
If you look at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things. If you want, I could try and find
see
something.
See if you can find one.
So, one of these tweets that she came out with in 2019, she said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real."
So you find that bigoted? What do you find about
it? Was deemed transphobic. I myself.
Do you find that transphobic yourself?
I don't really have an opinion on it, but I'm just going with what a lot of other people have said.
So let's pause it. Let's not go with what other people are saying. Let's try and learn how to critically think. So let's analyze the tweet ourselves. So that statement, do you see anything problematic? Disregarding other people's things.
Desde el principio, Warren Smith mantiene la calma. Es evidente que este estudiante ha sido influenciado por los medios woke, pero Warren no pierde la paciencia. En lugar de eso, escucha atentamente y luego usa las propias palabras del estudiante para enseñar una poderosa lección. Observa cómo desarma, con serenidad, el argumento woke, dejando a todos en el aula completamente asombrados.
So that statement, do you see anything problematic? Disregarding other people's opinions.
She did try and pin some things on a specific group of people.
Where does she do that? Can you read that?
But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real.
So when I hear that, I'm interpreting that as meaning if a woman says that, saying that there's a difference between men and female and then being attacked as transphobic, I think that's what she's saying by attacking someone for stating that sex is real.
That is exactly what she's saying.
Is that transphobic to you?
So, to me, no. Stating that sex is real is not transphobic. It's just a fact of life. It exists.
So is there anything you disagree with in that tweet?
In that tweet, I can't really see anything that I myself disagree with, but I can see why some people would think, oh, this is offensive, we can't have that here or something, because there's an apology tweet.
Let's read that. What did she say there? I haven't read that.
"I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it is hateful to say so."
You see anything problematic there?
She's apologizing, so No, not really. If I could read it again.
It sounds like a very similar statement as what she was just saying. She's basically saying, like, I have nothing, to me, this is what I interpret it as, I have nothing against someone being trans.
Exactly.
Live your life, but you just don't get to impose on my, you can live how you want, I can live how I want.
Yeah.
And let's all,
Exactly.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her, do you think it's fair that that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that JK Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
It's okay though, but this is why we do this, to learn how to think.
There's been like so in my class specifically, in our class, there's been quite a few people in there who have been saying like, oh, she's transphobic. I've not, until today, I haven't really thought about it because I just believe there's 5 people saying it. It must be correct. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. That was great.
Increíble, ¿verdad? Pero no todos son lo suficientemente inteligentes como para escuchar la otra perspectiva. Porque el siguiente tipo es otro nivel. Incluso después de ser refutado una y otra vez, simplemente no se calla. Parece que ama el sonido de su propia voz más que los hechos.
Right? So the Department of Education does something very interesting, right? And I want to hear what your solution for this would be because I don't know what it would be. So the Department of Education is responsible for making sure that vulnerable children in school districts are protected. Kids with disabilities, right? They make sure that kids who are LGBTQ are valued. They make sure that transgender people who Charlie does not even acknowledge their existence Wrong. Okay.
Value their existence. How dare you say something like that? Like, seriously, value their existence? Yeah, you should sit down. I mean, seriously.
So let's talk about it.
Value their existence.
Wait.
Seriously.
Wait.
Value their existence.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Okay. Do you acknowledge there's more than one gender?
There's 2 genders. Yes, there's more than one gender.
Do you acknowledge that Would you acknowledge that transgender kids need special protections in school?
Absolutely, yes. That could be done on a local basis. It doesn't take a federal bureaucracy to look after LGBT students.
There's 2 issues that I have right now. And I know that it's still about the Department of Education because they are the ones that enforce this regulation. So what I think is interesting, right, is that if you turn this over to local control, right, so then the kid in Scottsdale might be protected and the kid in South Phoenix might not. Right? We know that this creates a patchwork of protections where we can't even define what it means to be American because one American, 10 miles apart, right? And I'm shocked that you're offended because you would hit us all for being offended and triggered.
Actually, I'm not offended. I'm laughing.
Okay. But so what I think you're missing, right, is that when you say that, and again, I misspoke, right? But when you say that transgender folks can't identify that way, right? Or that there's not more than one gender, right? You're not valuing their existence.
No, actually
right?
I am. I'm saying
so
there's 2 genders, and this idea that there's 47 genders and counting is wrong. It's non-biological, it's anti-science, and it's harmful
of all
to
people
society.
To be anti-science.
Yeah. It is anti-science. Just because Brown University says there's 47 genders and pick one doesn't mean it necessarily is true. They used to call this gender dysphoria, okay? There's 2 genders. Now, can someone who might be born as a man choose to be a woman? Yes. There's 2 genders. Pick one. I value their existence. How dare you say something like that? Okay, back to what I was saying. So you were a lot there. So Department of Education.
Can you stop talking over her?
No.
Can you let her do her job, please? She put a lot of time into this.
Listen to this guy. He's saying right after every sentence. It's like he's trying to convince himself more than anyone else. And get this, when he tells Charlie, can you stop talking over her, please? You'd think he'd let the lady speak. But nope, this hypocrite goes right ahead and talks over her himself.
Do you think that the mom in South Phoenix... Yes, I tell you what he said. Do you think that the mom in South Phoenix, right, who works 3 jobs, right, is up late trying to take care of her kids, right, and then her kid is discriminated against in school, right, and a lawyer costs X amount of money, right? And public defenders are overworked. They're not at the level that they need to be to take on a school district or the state if it got to that level, or to go all the way to the Supreme Court, right? So then this becomes, again, the idea of privilege, right? You assume that everything works
we're
for
gonna
everyone.
talk about privilege. I'm sorry, this is getting out of control. Okay,
You've been talking a lot. Can you give me another 30 seconds and then you can go on?
Yeah,
go on.
sure.
Right? So this is the idea that, right, you assume that everything will automatically work for you. Right? You wake up every day and every system works for you without having to worry about whether or not you can access it in the first place. If you are a person of color and your child is being discriminated against in South Phoenix, you do not have access to the courts, right?
What about the ACLU? Don't they represent a lot of students? That
Absolutely.
Oh, so they
represent everyone. So they represent everyone.
It's
It's not for everyone, right? These folks do not
All
have...
it takes is one court decision, and then they can't do it again, or else they go to jail.
Do you think that that's how the justice system works
No,
in
that
this
actually
country?
is how it works. That's how the Little Rock Nine worked. That's how integration in the South works. That's how desegregation works. That's how the Civil Rights Act works. Actually, I do get to talk about that.
You don't get to claim these great civil rights wins as part of your
It was
legacy.
actually the
and
Republican Party that had all those great civil rights.
And that's another lie. You know, my mom's watching at home, right? And she taught me not to lie, so I won't do it, right? And hi, Mom, I love you.
Was Ron Thurman a Democrat or Republican?
But so here's the issue, and I'm not going to get into the semantics with you. What I'm talking about is the idea that he can take credit for all of these things and then twist them historically to serve the talking points of the people that already have bought into Turning Point. You're not going to get new people when you take credit for what the black community did, or what the Latino community did, or what the LGBT community does every single day. You don't get to do that. And before you start talking again, you have to understand that this is an identity issue, and you never get to talk about this.
Let's stop. Stop with the identity.
You don't get to talk about this like
I'm going to keep
that.
talking. If you want to interrupt me, you can. I'm just going to keep talking.
You've done it every second that I've talked into the microphone.
Can I respond?
Yes, a response,
Okay.
and then we'll move on. Got it?
Privilege. What a bunch of nonsense. If you want to be, seriously, I mean, privilege.
Hold on.
Everyone has some element of privilege. Some people are smarter.
I have privilege.
Let me
privilege.
finish, okay? I let you do your piece. Privilege. Okay? Privilege. If you want to succeed in this country, you do three simple things. America is still a meritocracy. You graduate from high school, you get a job, and you get married before you have kids. No matter your skin color, no matter where you come from. Are some people born with less? Yes, absolutely. Do we need increased opportunity? Yes, absolutely. And every policy I advocate for is increasing opportunity. Not perpetuating victimhood, not trying to say you're privileged because you're a certain color and you're a certain gender, or you're privileged because you come from a certain part of the country. Instead, talk about the policies, the data, the math. You know what doesn't have privilege? Mathematics. You have not refuted a singular data point that I have brought up tonight.
So let's do
not
this.
one.
So let's do this.
Is math all of a sudden privileged now?
Si te ha gustado el video, recuerda suscribirte y dejar tu like. Estaremos trayendo más momentos y situaciones en los que argumentos woke quedan sin argumento. No olvides activar la campanita para no perderte nada. Nos vemos en el próximo video.